Welcome back, Captains. I am Wizard, and this is Aetos. This ship is a redesign of the Star Eagle, which is one of my favorite ships in the game. Although it's great, it does have a few flaws that I aim to correct with this build. Number one being the interior layout, and number two is how thin and flimsy the wings look holding the big engines on way outboard of the ship's main fuselage. Also, the weapons to me are lackluster, and the shape of the ship is okay, but I think I've achieved something better. So, if you want to find out how to turn the Star Eagle into Aetos, stick around. Not many requirements to build the Aetos. You need character level 14 at minimum for the parts we use. Commerce skill rank 3, it costed me a little under 110,000 credits, and you need to complete the Freestar Ranger questline to be awarded this ship. I don't recommend starting that until around level 15, but potentially on very easy mode you can do so sooner. So if you happen to get the ship by level 14, I applaud you, but these are your minimum requirements. If you need credits for this ship or any other ship, I recommend you check out my new game Outpost guide, so you can start mining Vitinium. If you haven't completed the Freestar Rangers questline and gotten the Star Eagle, go check out the Peregrine, which is a rebuild and redesign of the Frontier. And if you're in the endgame and need a cargo ship, check out the Bristleback. With the right skills, it can carry 100,000 units of cargo. Very helpful for outpost building and selling lots of materials. And of course, the Basilisk, if you haven't seen it already, is more of a space superiority heavy fighter ship. To start building the Aetos, we need to go to Deimos Staryard. There's only one item we need here that's not available at our outpost landing pad. We need to grab that here and get it on the ship before we move on. Get into your builder once you talk to Nikau and remove all the weapons that come on the Star Eagle, or at least to begin with the front four. We're going to replace these with Disruptor 3300A auto electron beams. I don't show it in this footage, but if you really like missiles, it's worth keeping the missiles that come on this ship. You can't get them until you have Starship Design rank 4, and you can actually duplicate and add 2 of those missile launchers to your weapons group if you copy the wing that it's attached to, and then once you do that you can take those missile pods off and move them where you want. So if you didn't know, there's a little trick for you. Again, I don't have it in the footage, but hopefully that made sense. So we've got our weapons on here. I don't like using missiles, so I took those off. Before we leave Deimos, I'm just going to throw one of these 100 DP slim dockers on there. They are available at your outpost landing pad, so you can wait if you wish, but I just went ahead and threw it on. Now make sure you assign your disruptors to a weapon group, and that's all we need here. We are going to continue and actually finish the Aetos build at a landing pad with Shipbuilder at one of your outposts. So wherever that may be, jump there and let's finish this ship. First thing you want to do is get these weapons and the shield out of your way. And then we want to move the big Deimos wings and the Nova cowling forward one space, highlight them, move them together. These Nova thruster arrays can go. I know they only weigh 1, but they're cosmetic, and we do end up losing about 5 mobility in building this ship, but it doesn't make a big difference in the way the ship feels, and we're going to need those few points for other attached pieces. Move these Nova radiators one space forward as well. That's where those are going to go. We're going to keep these landers, and we need to fix the interior of the ship. So the problem with it is there's a ladder all the way in the back of the brig to the captain's quarters and the one living quarters, and I don't like that. So let's delete all of our hab units except for the control station and keep the Docker where it is. On the bottom level, I chose to change to Deimos Habs, just to differentiate between the lower deck and the upper decks. The Deimos Habs have dark floor and light walls. So start with the Deimos companionway, but let me show you a better way to attach your Habs if you haven't yet figured this out. If you hover over the point you want to attach to, and on Xbox, hold your triggers and then press A, it'll bring up this menu, and you'll immediately be able to tell that you can't move this Hab around, but it is showing you anything that can attach to that point. So place a 1x1 and then do the same thing. Hold your triggers and press A. On keyboard, I think the button is G. It tells you in the bottom right there on your tooltips. I like using a Deimos workshop down here. The original Star Eagle doesn't have a workshop, and I think that is crucial for efficient gameplay so that you can modify weapons and gear and do research wherever you're at. So using the same strategy, we're going to attach a Stroud 2x2 living quarters to the rear of the control station. Duplicate the control station, but change it to an all-in-one berth A because it has 4 beds in it. And then we need to maintain our ladder position at this point. So again, both triggers plus A, and put a Stroud 1x1 here. And then again, to make sure the ladder doesn't move, hold your triggers, press A, and here we're going to put the captain's quarters. And if you followed these instructions, your interior will have one single ladder, which is just behind the entry hatch in the landing bay. We've left a couple voids from moving things around, so grab a couple of Deimos Hull A structural modules, put one down here. It already matches with the Deimos Habs and the Deimos belly that came on the Star Eagle. Duplicate that and move one up here. Putting one up here streamlines that transition between the Nova cowling and the Stroud Habs. So now let's move on to modifying our engines. I didn't use a Deimos hull here because of the weight difference. When you use a Nova bracer, you get all of the same attachment points, but they're a little lighter. So put one behind each of the radiators, and then you want to grab the top 3 modules of your engine assembly, put one on top of that Nova bracer, and then the bottom 3, of course, go underneath. And of course, once you're done with one side, you want to do the same thing on the opposite side. Top 3 on top of the bracer and bottom 3 on the bottom. Once you're done with those engines, I really like to use these longer Deimos wings in a rear orientation, rear facing aft, I should say, orientation. They look great to streamline what would otherwise be a pretty blocky ship. And now we can complete our wings. Well, obviously can't attach that radiator without a point to attach to, so we start with a Nova braking engine and put one attached to the front radiator that was already there. And then on the Nova bracer attachment point, we want a Nova cowling, 2LPA. 2L is just the length, and PA is apparently port aft. So then duplicate each of those and flip them over to the other side and go ahead and attach each one of them. Now we can take our Nova radiators, duplicate them, and attach them to the insides of those Nova cowlings that we just placed. I love the intricacy and detail that these modules add, both to the front and the rear of the engines. If those spaces were just open, it would look very incomplete, in my opinion. So that's the main build. All we have left to do is a few weapon attachments and add our correct weapons and give it a paint job. Otherwise, this is the ship. So these Deimos Wing E modules are great for attaching weapons to the side, and because we're going to be stacking up, I believe the total is 12 weapons. We need a bunch of attachment points in this area. I also prefer to try to tuck things away, so the shield is going to go here, just peeking out from under the Deimos wing. And now we can place 2 more weapon attachment modules, the horizon weapon mounts. We need 1 on each side of the cockpit attachment points. So now we've got those. Let's put our disruptors where they go. And since these have a different shape than the rest of the weapons, I like to tuck them back here where they don't interfere with the shape of the ship too much. Now you've probably guessed we're going to complete our weapons loadout. The next weapon that we need is the PBO-30 Auto Electron Beam. Put your first one on top of the lander, copy it and move it over. The second 2 are going to go on the Nova weapon mounts. And I use the bottom slot. And our last weapon group is, of course, the Vanguard Obliterator Auto Projector. And you get these from the UC Vanguard Quest Grunt Work. I like to put 2 underneath of the cockpit and 2 more, 1 on each of the Horizon weapons mounts. And we're done putting parts on the ship. There's one thing that we need to change though, and that's the grav drive. This is, I think, the only underperforming part that comes on this ship, and it only gives you 21 light years of jump range. So we're going to grab the best one that we have available, which is the R3000 Alpha Grav Drive. It gives us significantly more thrust, and it will increase our light year jump range to 25. And one last little thing to add, which is optional. I like to close out the inside of the Nova radiators on the backs of the engines, and I went with the Deimos Wing E's in this footage. If you're running a scan jammer or something, this is a good place to put one. The Deimos bumpers also look good back there. And now the time has come to paint the ship. My intent for the paint was to be reminiscent of a golden eagle. The name Aetos comes from Zeus's mythological golden eagle named Aetos Dios that carried his lightning bolts to him. And once you're happy with your paint, there's one last little trick to complete this build, and it's just to take these wings and attach them to the top engines. Just flipping around that angle just creates a much more attractive graphic breakup, and I think completes the look of the ship. And go ahead and name it whatever you would like. And there it is in all its glory, ship complete. We've increased the crew, we've maintained the reactor, we've maintained the shield, we upgraded the grav drive, and we upgraded the weapons significantly. We did lose a bit of mobility, but that's the trade-off for the weapons, and the look of the ship, of course. Now I want to give you a tour of the corrected interior layout. To me, I think this layout works much better than the stock Star Eagle, as before you had to go all the way to the back of the ship through the brig to get to either of the living quarters. Now we have one central ladder. We've also replaced the engineering bay with a workshop. Of course, the engineering bay is not necessary to any build and doesn't add any functionality to the ship. So I feel a workshop is a much better choice given the limited amount of mass and space that we had for this build. Directly behind the control stations we have the 2x2 living quarters, and turning left we enter the hatch into the all-in-one berth A by Stroud Eklund. And there's those 4 beds instead of the 2 that were here before. In my opinion, I would rather have this living quarters space than the brig. That one's up to you. You could of course still put the brig here if you wish. I like the ship feeling a little more welcoming to my crew. So going up to the top deck, all we have up here is the 1x1 entrance and the hatch into the captain's quarters. This unit of course has your nav table as well, which is nice. They are functional, you can actually go to the star map with them. I never end up using them though. There's your bed up there as well. So that's the ship, and once I built it, started flying it, I got pretty confident with it. So I did a special thing for this one, and we're going to do a full run through the Serpentis system, even though we're only at level 30 on this character. And I even found a legendary ship encounter, the Spacer Blattodea. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but let's go check out this ship in action.
Ready for takeoff in 3, 2, 1, go!
I'm going to give you a look at my skills, crew, and difficulty while I offer my sincerest thank you for all the views, subscribers, likes, and all the engagement that I've received on my content. I have many more ideas coming down the pipeline, but I am a one-man show and time is limited. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
You didn't put us into a planet, so we must be in the right place.
Aha! An offering for the great serpent!
shields.